A big welcome as we move into Experience 1 of the series Living Purposefully into Your Very Own Story. And Series 1 is of experiences 1 to 10, and each one of these is one aspect of inner awareness. So let us begin. Relax into your chair. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your body contact with the chair. Perhaps close your eyes. With your sensing system, be aware of your skin encasing your head, your arms, your torso, your legs, your feet. Just relax for a little into your awareness of your skin encasing you. When the time is right for you, return to a normal level of sensing. And now I invite you to take one more moment to ask yourself, how is that for me? Perhaps a word, phrase, sense, image emerges. And perhaps make a note of this. And we've just engaged Observer Self. Of inner awareness. My first metaphor, and it definitely is a metaphor, is bells. And I know that bells make a tinkle. However, I'm combining it with tingle because the tingles that we have within us are intangible, but they're low level, like a tinkle, in how they attract our awareness. So, the first item of awareness that I'm noting in our inner experience is tingle and clang. And clangs are those things, they're still sensory, but those things which jog us into awareness. And so, I'm now going to illustrate what I mean by tingles and clangs by telling two stories. The first story I'm naming Days I Don't Go Out. For me, days I don't go out are very precious. On one such day when I thought that I was going to have the whole day to myself, someone rang up and I needed to slot in an appointment on it. The tingle inside me was, oh no. However, I decided to slot the appointment in spite of this tingle. Later on, after the appointment was slotted in, the person rang, something had turned up, and the appointment was moved to another day. And inside me, I experienced a clang of joy. Enjoyment of my free from going out day was doubled from what it would have been if I hadn't had the experience of the change of appointment. And then there's a second story to illustrate the difference in sensory experience between a tingle and a clang, according to my interpretation of the metaphor. So this is a story about a supervisor telling me not to be stressed. My supervisor for a 10,000-word essay told me, after about 3 sentences, "You're obsessive-compulsive," in interview. And after we talked about, and he'd turned my proposal upside down, as I left, he said, "Don't be stressed." Now, after the event, I know that both these statements didn't fit my then conscious self-image of how I was operating. That they were said, therefore, attracted my inner attention. Tingles. And they were so different, his opinion and mine, that I took it as fun, and I related the fun of this discrepancy between his perceived reality and mine to others several times during the rest of the day. As I walked away from the last telling, the story continued in me. And what a surprise it was. It just arose. You can't afford to be stressed. The shock feeling level made this a clang. And as I stayed with the clang, I responded to the truth underlying the clang and dropped one of two part-time subjects I was doing, two, too much pressure, one, okay pressure. I'm allowing you some time now for tingles and clangs that you have experienced to surface. When they surface, you could speak them out loud to yourself or to others in your group, or write them, or fix them in your sensory memory. Here we have an image of a section of a very, very large well. And I'm using that as a metaphor for how each one of our inner and outer experiences is in our personal well of sensory memory and desire as well, and all of that sensory memory gathering or holding of each of our individual experiences of inner and outer experience and desire is within a vast well of energy, of collective unconscious wisdom, experience of mystery, experience of desire, and universal truth. And I'm going to invite you to become aware of tingles and clangs for you as you work through these experiences. So you add an awareness to the gathering that has already happened, even if you're not aware of it. And here is a little red square in the image. And that is, but it's much, much smaller. I can't reproduce it. My total well of experience is one little part of the big, vast well of sensory memory for every person who's ever existed. And my personal speck of that reality is a reflection of the vast well of total human experience. So now that brings me to talk a little bit more about metaphor, because it's the basis of what draws our attention in tingles and clangs. So some points about metaphor. Each personal interpretation is valid in its own right. And metaphor is spontaneous and arises in its own time. We don't say, hey, metaphor, I'd like you. We're going along and all of a sudden something catches our attention. And then there are stories that inform the metaphors, and they are uniquely personal. So let's have a look at Tingles and Clangs as they are in process. So, something holds our inner attention in a greater or lesser way. And you know, we can be as unaware of inner tingles and clangs as we are of birdsong around us in the city. So we need to create space so that we can become aware of inner tingles and clangs, so that they can reveal themselves. And this doesn't happen unless we decide to make this inner space. And when we've made the space to become aware of tingles and clangs, this can only happen when we've engaged with our observer self. And so, as promised in the introduction, I'm providing a strategy to increase anyone's capacity for inner awareness. Each morning, give a brief time, 1 to 2 minutes, to become aware of me in my skin. On this awareness, this is a way to deepen this awareness. And this is a way to set your inner compass at living into the journeying that turns up during the day for this day, for you. And at the end of the day, 7 to 10 minutes, let the tingles and clangs of the day reveal themselves in their unaltered energy. And taking notice of these tingles and clangs daily could reveal much about your inner journeying over time. So, how has Experience 1 expanded your awareness of you in your skin? Here's a metaphor, speaking what I've been talking about in this Experience 1. We're looking into the well of our experience. And the way that I'm inviting you to do this is to listen to your tingles and clangs. So, Experience 1 opened up one aspect of the possibility of looking into our personal inner well of experience by noticing tingles and clangs. And this image is the top section of Insight by Seeger Kurda. Would you like to expand and enrich your inner awareness a little bit more? Experiences 2 to 10 to learn more about different experiences and their processes. Thank you for being a part of experiencing Experience 1.